I'm lucky enough to have many successful businesses today. My agency did $23 million last year. I've been involved in 20 plus different SaaS businesses. I manage multiple e-com brands and manage multi-million-dollar info product businesses. And together, all of that, I have sold $300 million to date. So in this video, I'm going to break down for you which is the best business model today. I'm going to be comparing e-com, info products, SaaS, agency, and I'm going to be going through the unit economics, the money that you need, the skills that you need, and then my personal experience with every single one of them. So that it gives you in-depth detail about each one. Then at the very end of this video, I'm going to reveal to you what I believe is the best business model in the market today. With that being said, let's get into it. So the very first business model we're going to be looking at is e-com. And when I say e-com, it means selling products online, as in physical products, and which means you are either selling someone else's product, i.e. drop shipping, or you are creating your own brand and selling it yourself. Obviously, with the drop shipping, you are finding products like a sauna and trying to sell it through ads to other people. And essentially, it's not your product. You are essentially selling something, and then your supplier is going to ship it directly to the person. The truth is, it's a very tough business model because you don't own the product. So you have no ability to be able to manage the quality of that product. You're essentially trusting a supplier and their information. You're then advertising it to people. And then on the other side, you're hoping everything's going to work out. What most people do is the following. You'll find some product. You're going to try to buy one of them, take very good pictures of it, and then trying to sell it yourself through your own Shopify website. You're hoping, when someone buys it, they actually do ship it. It does arrive okay, and it is exactly as it says it is. The truth is that it's a great way to buy and sell products to make some money. I did it myself. Growing up, I sold phone chargers to everything else, which was drop shipping. I would buy it, and it would get shipped directly from the seller straight to the buyer, and it works. It can help you make some cash, but I don't think it's not a real business that you are launching or that you can actually manage or scale. It's very hard to do because ultimately you are a marketplace buying and selling products and you have no control over it. But on the other side of e-com is what I'm going to focus on the most here, which is you have your own brand. This is when you are creating your own product and then you are going to sell. And there's 3 places to sell today. You can be selling it on Shopify. You can sell it on Amazon, which is called FBA. And then we can sell on TikTok Shop. And even now, TikTok have their own FBT, fulfillment by TikTok. So the number one thing, I guess, to understand e-com in full is I'm going to switch and walk you through the unit economics. Because I think when it comes to understanding this business model, it all comes down to numbers. Because a lot of people, have a dream of starting their own brand and they think it's going to work. And, we see all the guys on Twitter, right, that are putting up your Shopify screenshots and it'll say 100K and it feels like, wow, like guys printing money. But that essentially is not money, right? That's just your sales. That's why I'm going to break this down for you so it makes super, super simple. So what does the business model look like when you are running a e-com business? So I'm going to compare Shopify, Amazon, and TikTok Shop. As you can see here, in this example, I'm selling 1,000 units and I'm selling them at $30, which means my sales are going to be $30,000. Exactly what you see when people put up the screenshots. They've made 30,000 and it's like, yo, that guy's like escaped the matrix, right? He's escaped the 9 to 5. He's now making 30,000. But let's break that down, right? Normally, you would be aiming for at least a 50% margin, meaning whatever you purchased here, let's say if it was a t-shirt or a supplement, it cost you $15 to buy it. So essentially, it'll cost you $15,000 of cost of goods to be able to sell that. Then you'll have a fee, and Shopify normally is about 3%. So essentially, you'll pay 3% transaction fee to Shopify. Then how are you actually going to sell these products, right? CPA meaning essentially the cost of purchase of acquiring a customer. In this case, I've assumed that to be $5, which is very generous, as in it'll cost you $5 per purchase someone makes through Meta, let's say. So overall, that gives us a 9,100 gross profits. Already you can see the 30,000 that you may think you are making ultimately is already 9,000 once you take away the cost that would be necessary to pay that. Obviously, what gross profit is essentially is all the costs that have to happen to make the sale. Then there's other costs that nobody talks about. You'll have to pay for storage, because if it's in Shopify, it means it's sitting in some 3PL, meaning you actually have to pay for storage, for pallet storage. They'll actually, I haven't put it here, storage, I'll just call this storage and fulfillment. Ultimately, then as each order is shipped, you get charged per order, which is pick and pack. Some person literally has to go and pick it for you, pack it for you, and send it to the customer, and you get charged for that. Normally, it'd be like $2 an order or something. You'll be paying for actual software, which is like Shopify and other stuff. And you will 100% need some freelancers, because to make your own product, you're going to have to pay for product design. You're going to have to make tech packs. You're going to have to get a factory to do XYZ things. You need branding. You need a website. So you'll end up having some help to do that. The chance you'll have the skills to do all of that yourself is very unlikely. And then freight. So freight is obviously the cost of you getting the stock from a factory to the 3PL for you to send out. And look, that gives you an overall net profit of 3,200. And, this is essentially a 10% margin. Maybe it's a bit aggressive, but ultimately 10 to 20% is what maximum you'll ever see in a D2C brand when it comes to overall margin. Then from that, you still have to pay, if you're in the US, it'll be sales tax. If it's in the UK, you'll be paying VAT. And then also you'll be paying final tax when you actually, if you were to take this profit and put it into your pocket, you'll actually have to pay your own personal tax as well. So just like that, you can see, going into ECOM, it's a very tough business when it comes to making money. And we'll get into that detail. But let me quickly explain to you Amazon. Exact same thing. The biggest difference on Amazon is they will take 30% as their fee. So, it's very hard to make money because you're paying 30% to Amazon for every single sale. So when people are saying Amazon FBA is the one, bro, let's get going, print money, it's just not true. Like, you have to sell things very expensive. And then it gets tough because you are up against essentially Chinese brands that are selling directly on Amazon. So if you're going to go make your creatine and you're going to put it on Amazon and you're like, you know what, I need to make money. I'm going to put this for $80, bro. And then I'm going to be rich. But the problem is you have the factories in China selling directly on Amazon and they're selling it for 30. So it's very competitive and you can't really outprice yourself to account for all the stuff. Also, similarly on Amazon, you still have to pay for storage, you still have to pay for fees, which does add up. But obviously on Amazon, the one benefit is that it can start to get organic customers. And that's one of the biggest benefits of going on Amazon. You can still run ads on Meta and bring people to Amazon, and you can run ads on Amazon themselves. Then the TikTok shop, obviously, it's a very big thing now. Everyone's talking about it. I sell on TikTok shop. I sell on all these 3 channels with one of my brands, Newtonic. And we sell on all 3. So I have full understanding of each one of these platforms because we sell millions on every single one of them. TikTok shop obviously is great because it's very different. It's like Amazon, but with content. So people are creating content. They can put an affiliate link and they can push your TikTok shop and essentially people can buy. However, lots of complexities. Once again, you have to pay 8% fee to TikTok and you then have to pay the affiliate. So you will come up with an affiliate scheme. I've put this as 15%. So essentially you have to decide how much you want to give to the affiliate, hence why people will tag your product and then people will buy. So people are like, get started on TikTok shop and you're just going to print money. It's so many pieces to it to get to a point where you have a winning product. The truth is, TikTok shop is very trend based. So it's hard to just have a real product and trying to use TikTok shop as a way. Also, it's very discount heavy. So most people are like, discounting their products to make sales on TikTok. But you get the idea, right? Obviously, in this example, just to show you how easily you can actually not be making money as a business selling on Amazon and TikTok. Hence why Shopify or, your own website is the best option. But as a business, if you're looking, if you're in this business now and looking to scale one of these channels, or you're someone that's thinking about starting it, you can now see the underlying metrics, the unit economics of this business model, and it shows you that it's tough. But let me just get, it's not only that. The actual skills needed to start at e-com, it depends on if you have those skills. So number one, you need to fundamentally understand consumer products. You need to actually understand what is people going to want to buy today, right? Because your thing actually has to be in demand for what someone's going to want to buy. Next, you actually have to be very good at copywriting. Got to be very good at understanding content and then paid media. Because how are you going to acquire customers in e-com? It's all about ads. So if you can't script very cool UGC, if you can't write very good copy, if that's not your skill, you should not be starting e-com, because that is the fundamental way for you to acquire customers, and without that, you'll go nowhere. The amount of people that I've seen that want to start a fashion brand or a supplement brand or anything else, and they have no idea of this, meaning they'll never be able to sell. then all the fees add up, your stock is sitting in a warehouse, storage is going up and up and up, and before you know it, essentially you don't have a business anymore. When it comes to time, it will easily take you 3 to 6 months to start. And I believe I've been in so many e-com brands, failed and successful over the years. That'll easily take you 1 year to find some level of success, because you'll start to find the messaging and the angles that really work in the ads. You will iron out all your supply chain problems. You will really start to find your position in the market, and it takes time. Don't believe what you see online, that you're just going to set up a Shopify store, go to this place, use an AI generator logo, do this, and you're just going to print money and it's just easily going to work. It's just not true. Also, you need real cash to be able to do this, because for you to be able to buy a stock which is going to be good enough, which is not just white labeled, it's the same tablets with a different logo on top, ultimately it would just not be a good product. And then your repeat purchase will not be there. You're always going to be in the game of finding new customers, paying Meta, paying TikTok, paying Google to acquire a customer every single time, that essentially you don't have a real business. A real business in e-com is the one that has a high repeat purchase. You want to have a 50% plus, meaning that if I sell something to someone, there's a 50% chance that person is going to come back and buy it again. If you look at the products that you buy today, I guarantee you're buying the same products over and over and over again. And very rarely do you start buying a brand new product for the things that you use today. And that is the key to success in e-com. I believe you need 25 to 50K to be able to create a decent product and all the other costs that come with it. And ultimately, this, from my experience, again, I've been in many, many businesses to know that it's very hard. No matter what size you are, factories will mess you around. They'll tell you sample is ready. They'll tell you your production is on this date or whatever, but it's always there. You'll be there on WeChat. You'll be on the supplier's case, and you're going to be doing everything possible basically to just get the product for them. And you're hoping and praying it's done correctly as you want it to, and it comes to you in the way. And trust me, that's what it's like. Supply chain, meaning, just the whole process of getting the product, the finished product into your warehouse and making sure everything is okay. It's just a whole stress that you know nothing about. And every single person in that supply chain is going to try to screw you over in every capacity, down to when you're paying your import duties, down to the agent that's transferring it from one person to the other. Every person essentially tries to make money. So it's very tough to manage. Once you get the experience, it gets easier and easier, but it's a tough thing. Next, transparently, Amazon and TikTok shop is just very tough to set up. There are so many hoops to get through to get an account. When I was creating an Amazon account recently, I had to be sitting there with my passport next to my face, answering questions to be able to verify an account, to be able to move forwards. Your funds get frozen and everything else. It's not as easy as the drop shippers and the FBA guys or whatever are telling you. Trust me. Also, the truth is ads are just very hard. It's a very hard business because you have to constantly be making changes on content and this and that. But look, I'll say it, the reward is massive. We have seen massive brands like Gymshark, Bloom, etc. My own brand, Newtonic, absolutely killing it. If you get it right, and if you have the money and you have the patience, you'll be able to make it into a success. But it's not for someone, my experience, who doesn't have if you don't have a lot of money and you don't have the creative skill and you don't have the operational thing to deal with all the supply chain and get it right, it's going to be very hard for you to actually make money as a business because of the unit economics. Cool. With that being said, the next business model we're going to be looking into is info products. Obviously, the infamous info products, the thing that you see every single person doing. Obviously, there's a half of social media will call an info product a scam. The other half would be it's e-learning. Of course, I'm paying someone to learn something. And I'm going to get into that. But fundamentally, obviously, an info product is essentially you are selling some information, a digital product to somebody. So if you were to buy a fitness program from somebody online, that is an info product. If you were to sell a course on how to start an agency, that is an info product. If you were to pay someone to learn a new language on Udemy, that is an info product. So many different types, and I'm going to break that down. Fundamentally, there's kind of two areas of it. What everyone calls low ticket, meaning basically something under $500. Some people say under $1,000. And the other side, we have high ticket, which is $1,000 plus, all the way up to $20,000, almost like a university education, a college education. Some people try to charge and get away with. But as always, as before, I'm going to jump straight into the unit economics to give you an understanding of what this means. So, maybe you are thinking of starting a course business, an info product business, a digital product business. You want to launch a community, you want to launch a course, you want to launch a cohort, you want to launch a mastermind, all of these things that we see every single day. Let me give you the maths. So, Low ticket, we're going to assume we're going to sell something for $300, and this is assuming you're going to sell 100 of them in a month. You're going to make $30,000. This is incorrect. The fees will be still there, which would be just payment fees, and that's at 3%. You'll have to pay to acquire customers. In this case, I've assumed $150 it'll cost you to acquire each customer as a general assumption, which means you'll on average make 47% margin. You're going to make $14,000 selling your digital product. You'll have to have some team, again, to help you put this together, just because of like the amount of content you are creating, filming, editing, resources, and the whole thing, web, and the rest of it. You'll have to start paying for softwares for all of those things, for the website, for every single thing that you're putting together. And I guess content cost, you'll be paying editors, maybe in the beginning, a studio where you're filming it, camera equipment, everything else. And I'll just throw in another ad hoc 1,000, which gives you a net margin of 17%. The truth is, a lot of people will say it's 80% margin or whatever, but I'm trying to factor in every single thing to make it the most truest reflection of how much money you would physically take home. Now, on the high ticket side, obviously, this is probably the holy grail, right? That every person's secret dream is this now in the market, because ultimately, that's where the whole like scam thing comes from, right? What you have today, and I'll just say it, right? We've got like people with zero experience who have or are trying to teach something. And then there's people out there who are teaching people how to do that exact same thing. Meaning they're like, there's a massive opportunity to teach copywriting. So I'm going to teach copywriting. So they try to like watch a lot of stuff about copywriting, try to create a course out of it and try to sell to others. And really, they've never even done copywriting as a real thing and have real expertise in it. So they're just selling lots of information put together. And then, there'll be a Google Doc with 100 pages, which essentially is ChatGPT, books, every single thing you could possibly read. You're going to monk mode. You're going to sit somewhere. You're going to make this big document, and then essentially you're going to sell it to other people as like, I know everything. And that is where the scam thing comes from, essentially, because you are selling something you actually have never actually practiced enough to be able to sell it to someone. It's like me training you for a boxing fight, and I've never had a fight myself. I've never trained anyone myself, but I'm like, I've watched enough things, done enough stuff that I can teach you everything. I have every combination down. So I will tell you it's hook, hook, jab, hook. And, I know everything, so trust me, bro. And that's why people call it that. But I'm going to break down the business model just so you can see and learn. So let's say this is assuming I'm going to sell something for $5,000, and it's assuming I'm going to sell 12 of them in a month, and I'm going to make $62,000. But how does it work, right? Let me break down the mechanics. So normally, basically, you're going to be paying to get a sales call booked, meaning you're running ads into a VSL and you're trying to get someone to pay and join that call. We're going to assume a 50% show up rate, meaning when someone books a call, how many people actually show up to the call? That means if I had 50 calls booked at a $300 price point and 25 of them actually turned up, then we're going to assume another 50% of those people that did turn up to the calls, we end up converting into buying. So ultimately from the 50, we have come down to, 12 paying customers. So 12 people paying us 5,000 gives us the 6,000 to 62,500. That means an overall close rate of 25%, which is like, I would say is industry standard. It all comes down to how good the lead is, really. And this is a subjective thing, because like being able to get the right people to give, jump on your sales call depends on so many factors of like who you are, how good your VSL is, and what is the underlying thing that you want to teach somebody. But look, here we go. We got 62.5. We're paying our payment fees again. We're paying the ads that we've paid here to be able to get it. 73% margin. Normally you need a larger team, because if someone's paying 5,000, there's going to be a lot of fulfillment after the fact. So you'll have like coaches, you'll have people that are physically going to be helping people now that they've paid 5,000, and you'll have to pay those people. A bunch of other small costs as before, and you get overall margin being 39%. And look, the truth is, the info product business, it's a very good business because it is going to be highly profitable, but there's a lot of like things that, have to be in place for you to be able to do that. That's why you're seeing your massive people today doing this model, because it's the most profitable. But the truth is, you have to be a real expert. And that's the thing, right? Like you need full detailed knowledge so people trust you. So, if Gary Vee was to come up with an info product about like marketing or building an audience, it would have enough detail in it because he's been doing it for so long. But when you have someone who essentially has like 1,000 followers, 7 YouTube videos, and now he's selling you XYZ, it's where it's like, do you really want to learn from that guy who basically is doing it because it's basically a very profitable business model? You got to be able to create content, on video, which is a skill that you need. You need to be able to be good at sales just from the way you speak, the way you come across. Can you get on a call with somebody? Can you sell to them? You need to be good at digital marketing. You need to have charisma. This is the biggest thing, right? There's going to be something about you so people trust you and think, man, I believe this guy. He's the one who's going to make me rich. I'm going to buy his thing. And that's like a whole thing that, it's only a certain type of people, I guess, possess that. Then you got to be very good at landing pages and funnels, right? Messaging, just the whole thing of how to acquire customers. That's why you have so many people who launch like their course and essentially it's nothing and never works because they don't have all these skills. So if you're thinking about doing that, you best start building these skills first. Time-wise, it'll take you 0 to 3 months, and essentially what it would physically take is you just got to film, edit, and put everything together and launch. And the truth is, it won't cost you much, pretty much zero, maybe a couple of thousand. But overall, it's very hard for beginners. Like, I think it's very easy to start for beginners, but it's very hard for beginners to actually not look like shitty beginners because it's obvious. It's obvious when you are 19 years old and you're teaching people how to be a sales closers, and it's like, right. So it's very easy to be terrible. But the irony of this business model is you don't need to sell much to be able to live the life, to be able to buy the Rollie, and that just means more people would buy, right? Because if I can sell 10, if I can make 60, 70K, if I can go buy a watch with all that money, next month I'll use that in all my ads and all my content, and next month I'll sell 20, then I will sell 50, then I will sell 100, then I will sell 500, and that's essentially how it works. So, if for whatever reason you have to make money today, this probably would be the best way for you to make money, but this is the biggest thing. It may just be bad for your reputation over time. You don't want to be the next Tai Lopez who every 18 months has a new thing, which is the thing, and he's doing the same thing every time to try to make the money as fast as possible. Why? Because it's the most profitable business model, full stop. You are literally selling information to other people, so it's going to be the most profitable, but it's not a business you can sell one day. It's not a business that has any real value and essentially just pure cash at the expense of your reputation if you don't have a reputation. It's a great business model for someone that has a reputation, has the experience, and now they are monetizing that. It's the same as doing a book, but you're doing an online digital version of it with way more things in it, essentially is the way to think about it. So essentially that's the infoproduct business model. And look, as I said, if you just need real experience, and then essentially it's a great business model, and it is the most profitable business model in all the ones we're going to go through. The next business model is agency, and let's get into it. Obviously, very straightforward. You are providing services for a fee, which means essentially someone's paying you one-off, a retainer, or on a percentage basis. And ultimately, you are doing something for someone and they are paying you a fee. You can be a freelancer, you're still a one-man agency, or you can be an agency with lots of employees. The thing with an agency is that you actually have to have some skill, right? Like, what skill are you actually selling to people? If you watch any of my content, you already know that I don't really believe that you can sell a service to someone and on the other side you get other people to do it and it's just magically going to work. It's not the case. You actually have to have a skill. And then agency is a great business model because you are in control. You are the person who is the one giving the advice, doing the work, and getting paid for it in return. But the reason is most agencies fail today is because people think it's going to get, money's going to come fast, other people are going to do the work, and they don't actually have the underlying skills. So the skills that you need, fundamentally you need sales. You've got to be able to get on a phone call with someone, be able to consult them, be able to trust them, or get them to trust you, and, physically then pay you to do something. And that is a real skill that you develop over time to have the confidence to do that. If you're there reading from sales scripts and the rest, it's never going to work. Then it's just operations. You have to be the type of person that's very good at staying on top of a lot of things, because when you have an agency, you're going to have 6 clients that need 23 things done in a particular order every single day. Then you have 2 freelancers somewhere else. So you've got to be a very operationally savvy person. Are you the person that, is organized? Is your Mac or desktop organized? Is your table organized? Are you an organized, detail-oriented person? Because that person will find success in an agency. And then you got to be very good at multitasking, meaning it's not as simple as, if you're in ECOM, you can spend the whole day optimizing your website. In agency, it's very, very hard to be able to just do one thing at a time, just because the nature of having clients and lots of little things to do, you've got to be great at multitasking. Then linked to that is time management. You have to be very good at managing your time. because agency it's always on and clients will chase you and want stuff or whatever at all times. And if you're not going to respond to a client, you will lose them. If you're not going to deal with internal and external things like in a timely manner, in a proper way, it's a full thing because you have external stakeholders who are waiting for you to do something for them. That is why, because ultimately when in other business models, info or ecom, you are in control. It's your business. There are no outsiders, right? So here, because you have actual clients, it's a whole thing to manage them. It's a whole different thing. And if you're not a person that's good at doing that, even in your life today, agency is not for you. And lastly, is patience. You have to have a lot of patience because you could have the best plan in the world. And when you say to the client could still just want to do something else. And you have to have the patience to be like, oh, okay, then we're going to do this dumb thing because you want to do it, even though I know this is better. And anyone that's watching me and has clients knows exactly what I'm talking about. Time-wise, obviously, it's very easy. You can start tomorrow because ultimately, if you have a skill, you start selling that service to people. You can start on marketplaces, your Fiverrs, Upworks, everything else. And then you slowly start into selling services yourself and start getting your own clients, start doing outbound. It's very easy to get started. Ultimately, you don't need any money as well. You can do it at home. You can live at your parents' house. It's a very easy business model in that sense. Overall, it's good cash flow because you can do everything yourself. It's probably one of the business models where I truly believe like you can just do it yourself. You don't need a single employee if you have the skill, hence why it's easy to start. But fundamentally, it's very hard to scale because the moment you're going to start bringing in people who are then doing the work, and then you have to make sure the quality is good enough and you're getting it back to the clients, and then you are busy doing sales calls and everything else that needs to be done to trying to grow your agency, is where it gets really tough. So it can be very hard to scale. Then I think overall agency as a business model works for people that generally like to work with other people. Because the whole game is that you are saying to someone, hey man, I can do this for you if you pay me. And then you actually enjoy doing that, completing the work, completing the project, and then giving it to someone else. So imagine you're doing a campaign, you're filming it, you're shooting it, you're editing it. You actually enjoy doing that. Or in an ads agency, you can't wait to sit and come up with a strategy, get all the content, run the ads. You're excited every single day to wake up, check the numbers, check this. And if that doesn't excite you and you're like, oh man, I don't want to do that for other people, then agency is not for you as a thing. And I know that from my own experience, it's been 8 years doing it, that's probably the number one thing. If you don't get like the joy out of it, agency is not a business model that's good for like cash, or you rather try to then just do info in that sense. The next business model is SaaS. And look, the truth is today, probably online, we've gone to a place of, SaaS obviously historically is the greatest business model because it is the one that can give you the highest valuation. The biggest, most valued businesses in the world are tech businesses. Obviously, SaaS means subscription model, but in most cases, SaaS is related to a tech business. So I'm talking about it in that way. I'm not counting your $7 monthly school membership as a SaaS business. By true SaaS is essentially, it's software as a service, meaning you are providing a software for someone to be able to go and buy. I'm not just talking about a subscription model, just so that's super clear, because I see people make that mistake all the time. Ultimately, the model is subscription. Yes, like monthly, annually, quarterly, people can pay in different things. But ultimately, what do you need to do this, right? You got to have actual tech skill. You got to actually understand software. You got to actually be able to code or have a co-founder or someone that does. You got to understand product. You got to understand what it takes to build a good product. The reason, I guess, a SaaS product is the best business model is because you are building a software that anyone can go and sign up to, which means it's infinite growth, which means to be the next Uber, Slack, Facebook, it's all possible, right? We've seen it. You can make billion-dollar businesses, but it's extremely, extremely hard to do that because the underlying understanding to be able to build a good enough product is not going to be someone that just can do it out of thin air. You have to be almost obsessed with a certain problem or certain industry to then be able to go ahead and do that. So, if you're trying to build a product, you need to be really good at it. Or there is a chance to build like a micro SaaS. And in a micro SaaS, what happens is you're trying to build a small tool. You can build a Chrome extension. You can build something small that does something, and then you can try and sell that one day. But even then, you have to have very particular skill on something to be like, there's a clear need in the market for X. I'm going to make that thing and then I'm going to sell it. For example, like it could be an SMS company for, a service that email marketing companies can use. And then you can try to like build that and then trying to sell it. It's like very small bespoke things. Like We have one that we pay, which is a micro SaaS. It's copyright infringement, so no one can steal content when someone purchases it from us. So it's like micro problems you can solve through software, build that and trying to sell it one day. Ultimately, this is very expensive because either to build a SaaS business, it always will be, regardless of what anyone is saying. For hiring a few developers in India or Romania or somewhere is not going to be the answer. They're going to build you something very bad, which has no technical value. And when you're trying to sell your business one day, you'll realize how bad your infrastructure is, and it won't be easy. So fundamentally, it's going to take you a long time and it's very expensive, but it has the biggest payoff in the world, the highest valuation, highest exit potential in the world. And essentially, it's for people that have a real thing to do this in their life. It's not something for someone just to start and to think, I'm going to start a SaaS because, that's like, I want to be the next Elon. It's real hard. And you actually have to build something useful, right? You have to build a product that people are actually going to want to use and use again and again. And, the truth is there is lots of opportunity in B2B. Many people are building tools online today that do something. So lots of opportunity. If you have the skills to do it, I think it's the best business model in terms of the most money you can make in your life. But fundamentally, you'll have actual people, users using your thing. So like all day long, you are trying to make it work, trying to make it happen. And look, just quick in summary, right? So today in ECOM, I have multiple businesses and I sell on all channels to know that it's tough. But if you get it right, it's amazing because the repeat purchase and the word of mouth and organic really grows the business. Info products I'm involved in, I run many multi-million dollars. If you get the funnels right and if you have the right person doing it, it can be massive because they're teaching a real thing that people really want and it's highly profitable. And truth is, if you do this so well in info, you can then launch e-com and other businesses if you get it right. Agency is great for someone to start because, you have a skill, you're monetizing it. And if you get things right, you can scale it really well. It can become very easy way, a place for you to expand your knowledge, do lots of stuff. And that's what I've done, right? I started an agency. From that agency, I've been blessed to then start all these other businesses, have equity in it, have partnerships in it. And now essentially I have all of these 4 business models I have access to today, I'm involved in. And it's one of the best things. I've got like this, ability to essentially play with all sorts of different business models. And SaaS, obviously, I have my own SaaS business today, and we have multiple different other businesses we're involved in, and is the best business model in that sense. Like even at Gemflow, we built our own tech platform. We're launching it very soon, and it's going to be the same. Someone's going to be paying a subscription to be able to get involved. But look, hey, what is the best business model, right? I said at the very beginning, I'm going to reveal to you which one I believe is the best. And the answer is, it is the Gemflow business model. So there's some people call it growth operating. Some people, you can call it whatever, but the Gemflow business model is that I take these 4 business models and essentially all I'm doing is looking to do this with someone with an audience. Why? Because audience is the most powerful asset in the world. As you saw in my unit economics, this cost right here of acquiring customers essentially goes away if it's someone with an audience. And that's what it's all about. So for me, I have to be honest. The best business model is the business model I am doing today, which is not easy, very, very extremely tough to be able to get to the point where I've got to. But the best business model is where you are picking these business models, but you're doing it behind a creator, someone with an audience, because they're giving you the acquisition for free, which makes the whole thing essentially be $1 million plus in a single year very, very easily. That from there to then be able to run paid and everything else gets so much more easier. So the best business model is the Gemflow business model, which is that you pick a business model, one of these that you have the most expertise in, the most skill in, and fundamentally you pair that up with a creator, someone that has an audience, and then from day one, as long as you can make sure the product is very good, you're going to find success. And that's it. If I was you, I would be trying to do exactly what I'm doing today because that is the best thing to do. But look, the truth is, none of these business models are bad. You will find billion-dollar businesses in every single one of these, which means they're all good. And it really does come down to your personal skills. Who are you as a person? What skills do you possess? And based on that, pick the correct one. And you're going to have to work on it for at least 12 months to see it through to find some level of success. With that being said, I hope you like this video and I'll see you in the next one.